It's a really cool palm that you've probably never heard of. Let's talk about Hyophorbe. What's up, fellow plant enthusiasts? My name is Dylan and this is Baines Botanicals. Today we're going to be talking about Hyophorbe. The full name is Hyophorbe laginicalis and it's also known as the bottle palm. Now, my friend Isaiah, that you guys have seen on my live streams, he actually picked this up for me because it was on clearance at a greenhouse. And I wasn't really sure what to expect with it because it's a palm that I haven't really heard of, that I've never really cared for. And I've had it for probably 2 or 3 months now, and it's doing great. I don't think I've had to remove a single leaf off of it. Now, it did get a little bit of brown tips on it, which of course with palms, that's not an unusual thing. Palms get brown tips sometimes just because even when our humidity is good indoors, it's still just not the same as being outside. So I trimmed it up just a little bit, and it looks great. Now, you guys can see that it has this beautiful kind of reddish, rust-colored like stems and everything, and it transitions into like this darker green trunk at the bottom. And it's one of the palms that it's not really frilly. And what I mean by frilly is that, let's say I put a fan on this, it's not going to like blow in the breeze. This is a stiffer looking palm. Like when I touch it, it's pretty solid. And I think that there's pros and cons to that. I think a pro would be that palms like this tend to be a little easier to take care of because I think personally they're a little hardier. That's just my opinion. But the disadvantage is that when it does start doing bad, it's really hard to get it to recover because this thing doesn't put out leaves very much. Like it doesn't put out leaves as quickly as something like Chamaedorea, which is the parlor palm. So you do have to be ready for it. Like you do have to be kind of ready to take care of it because it's going to be hard to get it to recover if it starts doing bad. Now let's do this. We haven't done this in a while. Here is the taxonomy information for Hyophorbe. And as you can see, we are in the official palm family. We are in Ericaceae, and Ericaceae is the family of the true palms. So no sago palm, no ponytail palm, nothing like that. This is, I believe, the 10th genus we've covered on this channel of palms. So we can kind of go into a little bit of care now. And this is going to be just a general overview of palm care because this one really isn't too much different from your standard palms. Now, I know that some people have mentioned to me in the past that they struggle with palms, and I get it. Palms are not entry-level plants. They're something that you get when you have been taking care of plants for a little bit and you're ready for something that's just a little bit more difficult. That being said, some palms are much more difficult to care for than others. Things like Ravinia are almost impossible to keep happy indoors. Things like Licuala, which really should just be outside, Washingtonia, like those are palms that don't really make good houseplants. They just don't. But this one actually does. And I didn't put it outside this year. It did fine indoors in front of a sunny window. Okay, well, that's getting into here. Let's talk about the care. So as far as light goes, it likes bright indirect light. It's a palm. It's supposed to be, a tree, so it's going to enjoy ample light. Not direct sun. You don't really want to put it in the direct sun for risk of burning the foliage, but bright indirect light is great. A nice sunny window, not a north-facing window, but east or west, south, something like that. And you can put it outside. Just make sure that you're not sitting it where it's getting too much sun during the day because, yeah, just be careful. As far as watering goes, it likes to be consistently watered. It doesn't want to dry out too hard, but you also don't want to water it all the time. So it's kind of right in the middle, and that is part of what makes it a difficult plant to take care of. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's not difficult. That's what makes it not the easiest plant to take care of because it has a little bit more of a specific need. With palms, they like to be soaked and dry out on a quicker scale. So some people will actually plant palms in kind of a cacti succulent mix because it allows for that quick drainage so that they're not sitting in water for too long, and it allows it to dry out so that you can water it again. In my opinion, this one's a little hardier. This one, I feel like I treat it more like a standard tropical houseplant, and it does just fine. Like right now, I touch it, it's probably about due to be watered. It is a little dry, and I feel like I can let the soil dry out a little bit before I water it, just like I would an epipremnum or a philodendron, as opposed to, let's say, a rhapis palm, which really doesn't ever want to dry out. Then that is the, oh my gosh, the common name escaped me. I'm just so used to calling it rhapis. I'll put it in the description. Yeah, so like it doesn't really like to dry out because it'll get brown tips instantly. And Chamaedorea is very similar in that if you let it dry out too hard, you're going to see consequences. Chamaedorea, Dipsis, all the ones that are a little bit frillier. As far as soil goes, well, like I said, a well-draining soil is good. If you want to plant it in something a little more dense, just be aware that it doesn't want to stay wet. So what I've done with this palm is I actually have it in a nice ceramic pot, but the soil it's in is well draining. So I kind of get the best of both worlds with it. I feel like I have a little bit more control over it because of that. If it was in terracotta, I think it would be drying out too quickly. And so I kind of wanted a little bit more control. Fertilizing, palms like to be fertilized during the growing season, so you want to take a break from late fall, winter, early spring, don't fertilize. And maybe like once a year, maybe twice a year even, if you want to flush your pots out and just let the water run through the pot, let it just run through for maybe 5 minutes and just kind of help flush out those excess salts, especially if you're watering with tap water, because palms can be sensitive to heavy minerals and things that are in water. And with fertilizer, especially synthetic fertilizers can have like a little bit of sodium in them, and that can build up in the pot over time, and your palm's not going to like that. So it's a good idea just to kind of flush it out maybe once or twice a year. And actually, I think I'm overdue to do that with this guy. But yeah. And then humidity, palms like humidity. That's one of the things during the winter time that you might struggle with, is that palms come from a tropical environment where it's humid all year long. I mean, they don't go through winter in the tropics. They don't go through dry spells where the air is like 30 and 40% humidity like we have in our homes when our heaters are running. So just be aware that in the wintertime, if you have a humidifier or if you do a pretty good sized pebble tray, that's really going to benefit this plant. Misting is not going to give the plant enough consistent humidity for it to prosper. So really a humidifier, or like I said, a pebble tray, whatever method you use, just make sure it's getting consistent humidity in the wintertime, because you will start to see browning of the leaves and everything. They'll crisp up on you, so just be aware of that. I think we covered everything for the care, didn't we? But yeah, this is a really cool palm. If you ever find one, they're a little hard to find. I just read, I don't know this for sure, but according to Google, this species is actually critically endangered, which is horrible. I hope it's not because of the houseplant market, because that would be counterintuitive to what we're doing as houseplant enthusiasts, right? We don't want to be the reason that plant species are going through things like endangerment and extinction. So we need to make sure that we're responsible with our purchases. I didn't know that when I got this plant. I literally just found that out 5 minutes ago. But yeah, things like Venus flytraps are actually being over-harvested for the houseplant market. And so because of that, they are endangered. And things like those novelty Venus flytraps, it's not a good thing to buy because we're perpetuating that cycle of over-harvesting. So just kind of be aware of things like that. We want to make sure we're not making a big impact on the earth. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for supporting me, for supporting the channel. If you guys didn't know, we've been doing consistent live streams on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Central Time in the US. Come hang out. We have a good time. We have snacks and we listen to music and we talk about everything. And yeah, it's a good time. Thank you guys so much. And until the next video, I will see you soon. Thank you.